Hi everyone, and welcome back to Shrajan Workhouse. And today we are here to start another part of this video, which is part 2 of crop production and management. The first part link is given in the description. You can go and watch it. And today we will complete this chapter with me, that is my educator Siddhi Garg today. So in the previous class, we discussed about the introduction part, in which we discussed about all the topics which we are going to cover in the class and the previous class. Now the types of crops we discussed, that was the kharif and rabi. Then we discussed about the basic practices of crop production. In it we have 2 points, that was preparation of soil, in which we have implements used, and then we came across sowing, which we had methods of sowing seeds. Now today in this class we will cover these topics, and after covering these topics we will be completing this chapter, and as soon as this chapter will be completed you can give any answer to the questions. Now in today's class we have these topics 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and these topics are all done. First and second we have done in the previous class. So let us discuss manure and fertilizers. I told you in the previous class that I will give a difference between both of them. So I'll tell you the difference. And in the previous session, Fayaz gave the right answer. Well done, Fayaz. We gave all the right answers. Now let us continue with our video today. So in this video, we have repeated growing of crops. Now let us discuss what is manure and fertilizers altogether. Now, repeated growing of crops in the same fields removes a lot of precious material elements, organic matters and other materials from the soil. Now the deficiency of plant nutrients and organic matter in the soil is made up by adding manures and fertilizers to the soil. Now let us discuss what are manures and fertilizers separately. So manure basically means a natural substance. So as we come across a natural substance, we can say that it is taken out from the nature. That is, it is a bioproduct. Bio means taken out from nature. Obtained by decomposition of waste. Like decomposition means breaking down of particles. Now what basically is getting breakdown here? The minerals are getting break down here. Minerals of waste like human waste and plant residue, which supplies essential elements and humus to the soil and make it more fertile. Now the decomposition is carried out by some organisms which are very small, and the decomposed animal and plant matter is used as the organic matter. Now in this process only we come across vermicomposting and composting, which we read in the previous classes when we were small. Let me give you a quick review. Vermicomposting basically means the small worms are left out inside the crops, and these worms are basically providing fertility to the crops. Composting means putting all the materials which are leftover products in the house are left at a particular area, and all these products are getting put in a pit. This pit is then covered up with sand. After some time you will see that it gets manure. The materials are not visible. These are basically composting. In vermicomposting, the basically what happens, red worms break down the organic matter waste into nutrient rich manures, which increase the soil fertility. And what happens in fertilizers? Fertilizers are basically chemical proved. They are not from nature, they are from chemicals. So what happens in fertilizers? Fertilizers are an organic compound containing the necessary plants nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium to make soil more fertile. Now, what happens? The chemical fertilizers have the nutrients in a concentrated form, which means that they are nutrient specific. This means that a chemical fertilizer can provide only nitrogen, only phosphorus, or only potassium to the soil as required in one box. Now, as we come across chemical fertilizers, we came across the word chemical. Now, when we come across chemical, we know that chemical always puts harm in any material. So what happens here? The excessive use of fertilizers can change the nature of the soil and can make the soil less fertile. For example, the excessive use of fertilizers can make the soil highly acidic or alkaline. Now, as the soil will become highly acidic, it will get less fertile. On the other hand, it can also lead to water pollutions. Now let us come across the basic difference between both of them. Now we have the points. You can take a screenshot because this is very important for the point of view of exams. So basically the question is asked, what is the difference between manure and fertilizers? So fertilizers is salt or an organic compound, whereas a manure is basically the decomposition of animal waste, cow dung, human waste and animal residue. Second, manure can be prepared in the fields as it is nature proved, and well as fertilizers are made in factories as they are chemical proved. Now, let me tell you that basically manure does not have rich amount of nutrients for plants like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, but they are rich in organic chemical nutrients like humus. Thus, manure provides a lot of organic matter like humus to the soil, and this humus improves the physical and chemical properties of the soil, as humus can hold a lot amount of water and air in the soil. In fact, humus makes up the general deficiency of the nutrients in the soil. Now, so basically, manure is very important for the soil, and here in fertilizers, this NPK term is very important, which is basically nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. So N is for nitrogen, P is for phosphorus, and K is for potassium. When we come across vitamin K, basically it is vitamin for potassium. Okay, now let us move on with crop rotation. Now what happened? What is crop rotation? Crop rotation is basically the further step of the next step. I can say another method of replenishing the soil with nutrients is through crop rotation. Now before I discuss what is crop rotation, let us know about what is basically leguminous crops. Now, let me tell you, give you an examples of leguminous crops first. So, the first example is peas, as given in the example only. Then we have beans, groundnut, and gram, clove, etc. All these we have. So, all these contains nodules inside it. These nodules are basically root nodules. So these nodules contain ribosome inside it, which converts atmospheric nitrogen into usable nitrogen. This usable nitrogen is basically taken out from the nature only, and it is stored inside these root nodules. It converts the nitrogen into amino acid and then into proteins. So you can visit this diagram in which it is shown that these roots have tiny dot-like substances which have bacterium inside it, and this is basically ribosome bacteria. This converts the photosynthesis products get inside it, and the ribose nitrogen compounds are released inside it. Now let us come across irrigation. So irrigation means supplying water to crop plants is called irrigation. Now this is not a new topic because water is very important, as water is the basic need of all the people. So water is nothing a new topic for us. So let us come across the points, the advantages of water. Now, the essential necessity for irrigation is irrigation before plowing the fields make the field soft, due to which plowing of seeds become easier. Irrigation is necessary to provide moisture for the germination of seeds. This is because seeds do not grow in dry soil. Then the third point is irrigation is necessary to maintain the moisture of the soil for healthy crop growth so as to get good yields. The third point states that the irrigation is necessary for the absorption of nutrient elements by the plant from the soil. The irrigation basically converts the soil to form a solution, and this solution of nutrients is then absorbed by roots for the development of plants. The last point we have that it protects the crop plants from water currents as well as frost. Now let us come across factors affecting irrigation. Factors affecting irrigation are nature of soil, nature of nature of crop and seasons. Nature of crops, let us take an example of nature of crops. Now for example, paddy crop is translated in standing water and requires continuous irrigation, whereas other crops like wheat, gram and cotton do not require so much water. Then we have the crop grown in sandy soil needs irrigation more frequently, whereas the frequency of irrigation for the crops grown in clay soil is comparatively less. Now let us come across the last topic, which is seasons, which states which we came across earlier only, that was Kharif and Rabi. So basically these crops are grown according to the seasons, which are Kharif and Rabi crop. So Rabi crop is for winter season and Kharif is for summer seasons. Now let us come across this, which is sources of irrigation. So there are two types of irrigation which were used earlier and which are used now. So these are traditional and modern. So we have 4 points in traditional irrigation and 2 points in modern irrigation. So let us understand it detailed form. So here we have the Moat system. In this Moat system, what happens, and this is the this waste a lot of money because water is drawn out from a well by using a big container tied to a long rope which moves over a pulley fixed at one edge of the well. A rope tied to the container is usually pulled by the animal. So this is pulled by an animal. I can say that here an animal is there. So it is pulled by animals as the water is being as the I can say the pulley is being pulled by the animal, the rope gets up and we get the tank filled with water. We can draw out the water and will again put it back as the cow or any animal will put it a little loose, it will go inside again. Then we have the second one, which is chain pump. Let me tell you that Pali system is also called Moat. So in what happens in chain system, there are two wheels. One is inside this under the water and one is here. There are buckets tied to it. Now what happens? These buckets basically help the water in transpiration. The buckets come up again as the wheel is moved. The this as the wheel is moved, this rope also starts moving. Now as the rope starts moving, the buckets also start moving. The bucket will bring water inside and will place it out. As soon as they began going down, the bucket will get a little tilted and this will throw all the water on the river side here, and this is directly connected to the streams of fields. Then we have the third one, which is Dhekli. In Dhekli system, what happens? It is a very fun type system. So what happened? यहाँ पर एक we have Dhekli means lever beam of well, which means a long wooden beam is supported over forked vertical shaped material, and a bucket is tied with a long rope so that it can go inside the water. As soon as the bucket gets filled, the person can take the water into the bucket and can pour and can place the water inside the fields. Then we have the last system of traditional one, that is the Rahat system. In this system, the cows and buffaloes and all the animals are or whatever animals are placed here. As they move round and round and round, this wheel starts moving. Now as the wheel starts moving, because the rotation of cow, the a bucket tied to it starts moving. The bucket will bring water from the downside and will bring water from a to upside. This will then it will pour the water on this container. This container is basically directly connected to the fields. Now, as it is directly connected to the fields, what happens? This will provide the water to the fields. Now we will come across, as we have done this traditional method, we will come across modern method. So first is sprinkler system. In this sprinkler system, what happens? There is a pump which is attached. You can see, as the pump goes on, the pipeline supplies water. The sprinklers start rotating round and round and round. It will throw water all over the areas and will give direct water on the top of the plants. Now we were having this last, which is drip drop irrigation. In this drip drop irrigation, what happens? Water is supplied drip drip to the plant. Here we have the water pump. The as we plug on, put the switch on, the wire gets the water. The water is then putted drop by drop inside the roots. Now what is good in the system? The water quantity is not huge much, and the wastage of water is not at all present here. So with this we complete both these points. Now let us come across removal of weeds. Many a times you see on a floor that there are tiny grasses growing on the field. This is basically called weeds. Now the basic weeds which we see is firstly grass, that is grass. Then we have wild oat, which is javi, you can see it here. Then we have chauli and batua. Now, the process of removing these weeds are called weeding. I told you earlier what were weedicides. Now let us learn it more detailedly. The process of removing weeds is called weedicide. Weedicide is necessary because weeds compete with crop plants for completely depend on the crop plants for water. Now all these require all the things which are there for crop plants. It require water, it requires sunlight, and all the things. So we have to remove it from the fields. So there are three types. This is the first, pulling them out by hand. This is second, using a trowel, which is kurpi, and then we have third, using special chemicals called weedicides. So first we have this. First I have pulling out them with hand. So pulling out with hand is very hard because it is a very hard working process. When we pull the weed, they get uprooted from the field, and these uprooted weeds are then thrown away. In the process, using a trowel, what happens? Weeds can be removed by digging or cutting them close to the ground from time to time with the help of the element which is called trowel. A trowel is very effective material for removing weeds. Nowadays, we use weedicides, and what happens in weedicides? These are the poisonous chemicals which are used to kill the weed plants, the unwanted plants in the field. And the examples are DCPA and butachler. So these are the materials, or we can say chemical, which are used, and these pesticides can kill the weeds but do not damage the main crops. But this should be done before the crops get flowers or seed formation, as this can lead to the health issues, as it is poisonous to all of us. Now, as we have done all this, we will come across harvesting. As the crops have got ready, what we will go, it is matured crops. Now we will go on cutting and gathering. So we have two types here, which is threshing and one is winnowing. So as the name thresh means throw. Here thre means coming from word throw. So now what is threshing? Threshing is the process of beating out the grains from the harvested crops is called threshing. Threshing is done out to take the grains from its outer covering called chaff. In the traditional method of threshing, the harvested crop is spread on a ground, and various cattle like buffaloes or bullocks and camels are made to walk over it again and again in the circle. The cattle field crush the harvested crops away, due to which the chaff breaks up. This is the another way through which we can do this, by beating the crops against the hard surfaces. In winnowing, as the name suggested, is coming from the word wind. What happens, this in this process, the process of separation of grain from chaff and hay. Now when the grain mixed with chaff and hay is made to fall from a height in blowing wind, the grain being heavy falls straight on the ground, whereas the chaff and hay being lighter are carried away at a distance away from the wind. In this way, the grains form separate heaps and are collected back and packed in gunny bags. Now, before they are packed in gunny bags, there is again a process in which these are shown sunshine, so that the moisture is not there anymore. Now, what happens if the moisture is not reduced? Then it can get the growth of fungus and molds on these stored grains, which can damage them and can make them lose their germination capacity. Now, the farmer stored the dried food grains at home in metal bins and jute bags, which are also called gunny bags. But at higher production of crops, what happens? The national agencies like Food Corporation of India buy grains from the farmers on a large scale and store them in big godowns, so that it can be supplied throughout the country. So there are two ways in which they are stored. So when we have read, that is gunny bags, and then we have gram silos. Gunny bags is nothing but jute bags. Now coming across food from animals. Food consists of food provides by animals are egg, milk, meat, and all these things are all given by animals. Now the food obtained by animals is very rich in proteins. In Now there on this classification we get two types of animals providing that is milk yielding animals and meat and egg yielding animals. Now in this one we have cow, buffaloes and goats, and in this one we have goat, sheep, fish, and poultry animals like chicken, hen, or duck. Now, poultry gives us meat as well as eggs. I'm telling you again. Now, we come across this last topic, which is animal husbandry. Now, you will think why this animal husbandry part is included in this chapter. This is because the branch of agriculture does it, and agriculture means the working of crops. Now, the branch of agriculture basically what does do? What they just feed animals. They give feed. They feed, shelter, give take care of their health, and do the breeding of domestic animals, so that they can use it in a works. And this is called animal husbandry. Animal husbandry basically means your husbandry means basically it is the work that a husband works in a house. Work is done by the husband, so he works. So yeah, the cows and the work and all these animals are working in the field to get to give money. So yeah, it is ruled as animal husbandry. Now the fact file, this is very very important and personally liked it. This is the large scale rearing of bee is called apiary. The large scale rearing of fish is called pisciculture. Large scale production of silk is called sericulture, and the large scale production of honey is apiculture. Let me tell you that honey and bee are comes from the same bird, but when we rear for bees we called it apiary, and when we rear for honey it is called apiculture. Thank you for watching this video. We'll come across another chapters soon as possible. Till that time, take care and bye. And please like, share, subscribe my channel. I'll take charge from you. Thank you.